Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I crochet the African flower. In this stitch you will need to know how to do the double crochet, the single crochet, a chain, and a slip stitch. With this pattern I used pink, mint, and navy. When you decide to sew these pieces together, I would recommend using an instrument like this. It has a large eye, which allows you to put your yarn in very easily, and a very dull end so you do not hurt yourself. This is actually made for yarn. You could pick it up at any craft store. It is very affordable and a lifesaver. So the first color we're going to start with is the pink. We're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to slip stitch into that first chain and then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to double crochet into that same stitch, double crochet, and then chain 1. In this pattern they want you to do 2 double crochets with a chain 1 into each of the stitches all the way around. And then we're going, with the chain 1, think of it as the sets holding hands. So double crochet, double crochet, and then chain 1 to hold hands. See? Double crochet, double crochet, and then a chain to hold hands. Double crochet, double crochet, and then a chain to hold hands. Double crochet, double crochet, and then a chain to hold hands. Double crochet, double crochet, and then a chain to hold hands. You should have 6 all the way around. 6 sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, equaling 12 double crochets. When I slip stitch, I actually slip stitch into this gap here instead of the actual stitch. I do this because it acts as a universal tool to allow for adjustment. That way it creates more of a uniform look. As you can see, it creates more of a circle. The first modification I made to this pattern is adding 2 more slip stitches, because you're going to create your petals starting in between your sets, in between the sets of the double crochets. And where it leaves off is in the middle of the set. So we're going to slip stitch, and slip stitch. That was 2 slip stitches. Now I'm going to show you how I change colors for the next round. Now with the modification, we are going to add the mint. Take the yarn, just like this, just simple, and pull it through your work. Okay. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Give that pink a little tug, it'll tighten down there. Then you're going to want to hold this right here, the 2 strings, extra strings, on top so that you can work them into your work. I'm going to do a double crochet into this gap here. Okay, and as I do that, you see I'm holding the work in here. So it's worked into it, but not interrupting it. I do a double crochet and then I'm going to chain 1. With this pattern around here, you're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets, chain 1, and then you're going to move on to the next gap. In between each gap, I shouldn't say gap, I should say in between each set, because you have your 2 double crochets here, and it's in between each of those, okay? So in between each of those, so you have your gap here, it's in between the sets. We're going to be creating these crochets, okay? So we're going to do another double crochet, double crochet, and then a chain to hold hands. So it looks like that. Now for in between the next, okay? And as you notice, I'm still holding on to this. We're going to cut that shortly. We're going to do another set of these. Double crochet, double crochet, and a chain to hold hands. Double crochet, double crochet, and a chain to hold hands. So it looks like that. So you got your 2 double crochets, a chain to hold in between, and then another chain connecting each set. And now we're going to cut this. Before we cut it, I'm going to give the green a good little tug, the pink a good little tug, so it's nice and secure in there. When you do this, be sure not to cut yourself or your work. Get close to it and cut. Now we are going to continue all the way around. So, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, in between the gaps, okay? Got your sets of 2, in between those, double crochet, double crochet, and chain 1, 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 double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet, and chain 1. So again, for the slip stitch, instead of going into the stitch, I go into the gap. Slip stitch. The next modification I do is another 2 slip stitches, because you're going to be doing 7 double crochets in between the sets of 4. So where it joins with that chain. So you're going to do 7 double crochets here, like right here. That's 7 double crochets here. Not like this one where it was in between the 2. It's going to be right in the middle of that 4, right at that chain. And where they have you set at the end of this, you can't do that because kind of in the middle here. So you're going to want to slip stitch 2 over. So 1, and 2. For this next round, we do not have to change colors because we are still creating the petal. Okay, so we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which counts as the first double crochet. So we only have to do 6 double crochets in that gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to do a chain 1 so they can hold hands with the next set. Whoa, don't let go of it. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now to move on to the next set. And again, we're going in between that 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, start that one over. 6, 7, and a chain. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with a chain to hold hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with a chain to hold hands. Next set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with a chain to hold hands. And last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 5, 6, 7, and a chain to hold hands. The reason I call it a chain one to hold hands when it comes to a pattern like this, or when it comes to connecting sets, is so that I don't forget to put it in there. And the reason I do that is like I add a little extra sometimes so I don't forget to, again, put it in there. It's like when you run out the door and you're like, oh, did I forget to lock the door? Well, if you add something like purple doorknob, or if you say green fire, you know, for the stove or something like that, something to help you remember to that you for sure turn it off or lock the door, whatever the case may be. If it helps you remember, it helps remember. Anyhow, now for the slip stitch again, I do it into the gap. Slip stitch. Okay. Now we're going to change colors, and you do not have to slip stitch over again for this one. For this next row, this is where you make your petals come to life. For this next row, we're going to be doing a single crochet across the top, and then once you get to here, where you can't put it's right here, where you cannot put your hook in, you're going to double crochet in it. But instead of being into the stitch, you're going to just loop your hook around and grab the yarn and create your double crochet, and I'll show you how that is done. Okay, so we're just going to pull that through, make that a little smaller, and then I'm going to chain one. Okay, and what I do to kind of close the gap, because I feel like it's too spacey, right here in this gap I do a single crochet, and when I do, I make sure that these two are up here so that way they're nice and secure. Okay, give them a little tug so they're nice and tight in there, and then I start my single crochets with those on top, of course. Single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and single crochet. Now we're going to get to the double crochet, but before we do, I'm actually going to cut the yarn. I'm gonna give that navy color a good tug, that mint color a good tug. Okay, be careful not to cut you or your work. So now we're on to my favorite part. So you've completed your first row of single crochets. This is the part I was talking about. You can't fit your hook into there. I mean, I guess if you could really force it in there, you could, but it shouldn't be forced. So you're going to double crochet, and you're going to just stick your hook into this gap here, grab your yarn, pull it, you're going to double crochet, and you're creating your petals. Okay, then we're going to start single crocheting across again, picking it right back up. Across the top, we're going to single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, all the way through. Oops, oops, oops. Oops. Okay. The only part that you're going to do the double crochet is the area that you can't put your hook through. Okay. And then right here you can. And that's where you're going to pick up the single crochets. Okay. So single crochet all across the top. And then again, the double crochet. There's that gap. Grab that yarn. And we'll create that double crochet. And then single crochets. If this is difficult to see, I do apologize. I do not have proper equipment for this. And here's that double crochet. As you can see, it's creating the outlining to the petals. And then we're going to single crochet across the top. I really hope this is turning out okay. I don't have any lighting. You got your double crochet and then back to the single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. We're almost to our last double crochet. Okay, for the last one. So you could put a single crochet in here. I don't, because I feel that it creates a little dip and I don't like that. It bothers me. So I just create a slip stitch in here. Right there. So that way it is more uniform. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here, let's take this out. See it from this side, maybe. It's more uniformed. If I didn't do that, it would create this little dip. Now we are on to our last row. On the last row, we're going to create double crochets all the way around. It'll be a single double crochets in every stitch except for in between the petals, the middle one. So 1, 2, 3, the middle one. So you've got 7 total, so the middle one right here, this one right here. Because this is a dark color, it's harder to show on the stitch, especially with with no lighting. I'm so sorry. But this middle one right here, you're going to put 2 double crochets with a chain 1 in between to hold hands. That's going to create the corners, so you have it look like this. Okay, we're going to start with a chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to do a double crochet, and I make sure, I don't know if it's going to show, but I make sure, hopefully you can see it, I get into this very first one, so that way it's nice and tight and uniformed. Okay, if you feel that there's a gap, like if it's too far apart, then you've gone too far over. I used to make that mistake all the time when I first started. It used to make me mad, and I never understood why. Then I figured out what I was doing. Another thing is to not make your work too tight unless that's the goal, is to make your work tight. Wait, hold on. Okay, so now we're at our middle. So we're going to double crochet into that one, and then chain 1, and then double crochet into the same stitch. And then you've created your first corner. And then we're going to double crochet 1 double crochet into each stitch until you get to that next corner. Double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. Okay, this is the next one. So I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet. Instead of counting these out, I look at it more as a pattern versus a number. It makes it easier for me to make sure that I'm doing it more uniformed. I'm good with numbers, but this just makes it easier. Before you get to the last row, or when you get to the last row, it might make it easier if you figure out where your corners are and put a stitch marker, so you know, and don't forget to put your 2 double crochets with your chains. And now we're going to continue with the double crochets, 1 double crochet into each one until the next corner. So got and this is the corner one, so we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. See, you're creating your corners. Okay, now we're going to continue with 1 double crochet into each stitch until the next corner. This is not a bad stitch. This is a very pretty pattern. You can create so many things with this. I am personally making some toys for my children, and that's why I created the pattern, and this is why I chose the colors that I chose. But you can make so many things. see, I think we're on our next corner. Yeah, we're on our next corner. So double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Again, we are going to double crochet into each stitch, just one double crochet into each stitch until the next corner. But you can make a jacket, scarves, hats, purses, all kinds of stuff with this pattern because you can sew them together and make all kinds of shapes. You can do anything. You can create toys for children, toys for display. You can make centerpieces. You can make tablecloths. You can make bath mats. You can make curtains. All kinds of stuff. And it's so pretty. And you can use any colors you want. You can use all one color. Doesn't matter. It's up to you because it's your choice. And here's that other corner where we double crocheted, chained 1, and double crocheted. And on to the last corner. Okay. I like how simple this is too. It's not too difficult. The first time around when I was creating this, I was quite frustrated, but then I made my modifications and it became such an easy thing for me. Then I just make these very fast now. Very happy with them. And then we got your double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Last corner. Now to finish this up. Okay. And I make sure that I get all the way to where I'm right next door to that very first chain 3. Otherwise, there's too large of a gap. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there'll be too large of a gap and it just looks weird to me. And then again, I slip stitch into this gap. After I slip stitch into that gap, I'm going to chain 1, pull a little tight, cut the yarn, okay, then just pull it through, and you can tighten it up, and you're done. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Thank you for watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. Please let me know down in the comments below if you liked my video and what you liked about it. Please let me know also what colors you chose and what you decided to create with this pattern. I'm very interested in finding out. Also, check in the description box for any future information on videos. Thank you so much. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.